time to strap in and get ready.
The leaders in NRL Supercoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Matrix, and Whisperer.
G'day guys, welcome back. We've got round 21 done and dusted. It's in the books and on the Supercoach Brain, joined by the Supercoach Whisperer as always to talk you through the week. Josh, it's a tale of a halfback and a fullback this weekend, wasn't it?
I can't get these two right. They've cost me about 120 points over the last 2 weeks. Obviously, last week, VC'd Cleary seed Turbo and took the loop on Cleary when he got 104 in a free loop, which, you know, it's like, it's fine. A free loop's 104, but then you see him Turbo get 174. And then this week it was a different fullback. Had VC Tedesco, watched him be on 100 at halftime to finish up at 124. And with an AE of like 35, I thought that was good enough. And yeah, I was at the shops today running some errands and you were just hammering my phone, telling me that Cleary was on 125 at halftime. And it wasn't pretty viewing. I think as someone that didn't captain Cleary, I escaped with a 174 after being on 125 at halftime, but he's back. It's almost like him and Nico are untouchable without Trindle and Dylan Edwards. Feels like whenever those two are in the side, they just suck the life out of both of them.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Dylan Edwards is another conversation to have because we just don't know when he's actually back or what's going on with him at all. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but hopefully we get a Dylan Edwardless Nathan Cleary for a while, at least for a month or so. And looking at the Panthers' run, it kind of makes Supercoach boring, doesn't it? Because, like, he's pretty much just an automatic captain again now for the next few weeks.
That's the thing. Like, you think back to 2021 and people were like, oh, the scores were fantastic. But Supercoach was at its most boring in 2021 because you had Nico that was averaging about 90. You had Cleary and averaging about 112, whatever, and then Turbo averaging 144. And it was just everyone had those three. And the allure of like the 1500 score was just an every week thing. So it was unfun. And it's going to be quite hard to make up rank. Like, you can't antipod Cleary. But like, where else are you going to make rank in? And it's just like, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, there's a few guys that I know that are in the top 100 at the moment that, unfortunately faded Cleary altogether. So that's,
not even not captaining, but just not owning altogether. It's a different story. Like, and we'll talk on the Roosters and that. But if you captain Tedesco and own Cleary, you're only out 50 points. Whereas if you don't own Cleary altogether, you're out, 175. Same with Turbo last week as well.
That hurts you a lot more, doesn't it? Not owning altogether. I think there's 7% in the top 1% of teams that don't own Cleary. I think 93% own him, but I think about 67% captained him. So I think based on the numbers from the people that were captained that weren't playing or were on the bye or whatever this week, it looked like about 7.5% of the top 10% of teams took the loop.
Yeah, I saw a few captains of KPP and a few captains of Marzu, which obviously indicate people took the loop. And we'll talk on the loop when we get to the Roosters game. You can't be results orientated. It really depends on your AE. If your AE was like Lussick, then you don't take it. But like, I think if your AE was like 35 plus, like, you just take 124 with Tedesco. You know that he's going to probably get some updates when it comes to tackle busts or a junk offload here or there. It's just, obviously, it sucks in hindsight, especially for me that's been back-to-back weeks now that I've just been binned.
Yeah, look, and, to be honest, I would have taken the loop both weeks. And I spoke about it last week. I got lucky getting my VC wrong. But, initially, and I did it again. This week, I changed it off Teddy at the last minute before Harry Grant's game, before the Storm game. I'm like, there's something could come of this. I'll just go Harry Grant just as a bit of a left field VC pick, see if I can get ahead of the pack. And, if I had Teddy score, I would have looped because my AE would have been Sam Hughes, 28, which is not the end of the world. So, yeah, I would have been in the same situation again. It's just weird, isn't it? Circumstances, based on your team, based on your AE.
It's the curse of picking the right player, isn't it?
100%. So, yes, plenty to talk about, though, but most of it's centered around Nathan Cleary, whether you owned him, whether you captained him. So we can skip past that probably pretty quickly. And I assume that everybody who has massive scores in the chat, we've got a 1493 from Aussie Windsock, 1539 from Ian Johnson, 1533 from Raymond Crane, 1664 from Sarge Beer 365. Hang on, Cleary C. He had Connor Tracy as well, which is elite. Didn't trust Turbo and just bought Pappy, I assume. Teddy, Warbrick, honestly, I don't know. Campbell.
I don't know. This team's elite. This team is like all time. I mean, Warbrick, Connor Tracy as well, and played Plath. What a guy. We'll talk on Plath. Fuck that guy. But mate, I'm pretty much in full Bundy mixer swing. I could not give two shits about Supercoach.
Talk to us about how your Bundy mixer team went, because I think we both did all right, didn't we, this week? Yeah,
not as good as yours. I got 5-3-9. The only, I guess, bad play that I wasn't really looking at was Torfa from the Raiders. I would have gone Hale, but I want to go Torfa as a bit of a pod. I think Hale scored 49 and Torfa scored 43. It's not the end of the world. But probably the big one was Hafunga from the Broncos. I would have taken probably Kelly to go with the crowd. Malay got 40 and Israel Kelly got, 61? So lost 20 points there. And then Damien Cook just decided to lose me about, 16 points in goal kicks. So, but yeah, 539 is not too bad. Your pod chat of Barry, she went great. Obviously, having Cleary captain for a 220 is unreal. Keon Coleman-Tungy, 73. But, mate, how'd you go?
I had Harry Grant, 53. He scored a try, which was nice. And also I had Adam Fanua-Blake against the Tigers. I just had a feeling maybe he was going to tear us up through the middle. Tigers conceded a fair few tries to middles this year, so I thought, I'll just chuck him on AFB. He did well. I had PO from the Tigers. Funny that isn't it funny? The NRL app chooses that game specifically just not to track stats at all. Thanks.
Yeah, it was odd because Torfa scored a try and said she was on like 11 points, so it was unreal. But how good is Bundy Mixer? It makes watching the NRLW even more enjoyable than it already is watching. Yeah. And it's good. It's good that it's back. But yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people in the chat. Yeah, like Rowan with a 559 in Bundy, which is fantastic.
That's huge. I finished on the 546. So I think it says I'm ranked 151st. So I'm like 46 points behind first. So it's still pretty tight up top.
As a lot of the viewers in the chat probably know about the Supercoach World Cup this year, we've got some pretty cool things in the works next year for people that don't play AFL or NBL or BBL, that it's just focused around NRL. So yeah, keep your ear to the ground. But I'm pretty keen for that next year as well.
That'd be good. That's a true test of whether you're like one of the elite NRL fantasy sports watchers, players. That'll be good. But we'll keep that to ourselves for a little bit longer. But guys, drop your scores in the chat. Obviously, if you have questions for next week, we'll try and cover a couple of them before we wrap up as well. But let's just jump into the scores and have a chat about what happened in this one, mate. First game of the round on Friday, no Thursday football, thanks to the NRLW. But the Warriors, putting we kept it to 12, 28-16. Could be worse, but the Warriors probably played their worst game of the year and still
this
won.
Game was a poo slinger. This game was a shit show.
Felt like a Thursday night game, didn't it? AFB, though, 95, goes up by about 60, 65K now. Probably a little bit tougher to grab if you were planning on doing a Terrell-made AFB trade. They were about 60K difference, so I think they're going to be like maybe at least 50K difference now the other way. So it's like a nearly 100 to 120K swing if you were trying to do that May to AFB trade. What are your thoughts? Is he still a guy now that we're looking at? Because a lot of people doubted his kind of, I guess we could say maybe commitment to the Warriors, leaving to go to the Sharks next year. What are your thoughts on him for the run home?
It's tough. Like, I was talking to you off stream about potentially dumping Britton Nicola because he is capped out, and if there's no ball going on the right, then using some jewels to get in an AFB or a Haas type player. But he's unreal. I mean, all preseason I was a huge advocate of like, the attack can't continue, blah blah blah. But the Warriors continue to use him in attack, and I guess the promising thing is the Sharks still use their middles as well. Hazelton scored a fair few tries at the start of the year. Oregon Kofusi, Royce Hunt, like all those guys are line threats close to the line. So I don't see it slowing down next year. I'm not too sure I can pay a premium price for him next year at a new club. But for the run home, it's tough. Like, front row's kind of turned grim. It feels like it does every year. We get some players in and around the mix, and then by the end of it, it's like, cool, we have two options in Haas and AFB, and it's probably kind of what it's reverting to this year. It's just like, I don't know, like it's hard to buy an attack reliant middle. He did play 62 minutes, which is a lot for a middle. So even if we're going at around 1.1, 1.2 BPM, then if he's getting 65 base, a game, it's still a good floor to have. And with his attacking upside, something that Haas doesn't have. It feels like Haas goes no lower than 65, but he doesn't really go past 100. Whereas AFB, it's almost like every second or third week he's putting up, nearly triple digit scores.
Well, he did have that 100 there, which would have been his 5th for the season. He got downgraded to 95, unfortunately, for owners. Good for non-owners. But, yeah, his 5th 100 of the year. I think Dylan, Edwards, Tedesco, and Carraz now are on 6. I think Tedesco's now on 7 from his 100 the other night. Edwards has 6 and Carraz has 600s. But then the next best there is AFB, which you would never think in a million years that a front row would be 4th in most Supercoach 100s in the year this season.
Yeah.
So
and a true forward too, not like a front row forward playing out of position, like a true middle, putting up numbers he's putting up. So like if you can get the funds to him, by all means, I'd rather him over Haas, but it's a big investment. And like, how long can the tries continue for? I feel like I said this midway through last year, and we're now at round 21 in 2024, and it's still happening. So definitely one to, I guess, monitor. I'm probably not going to be able to get to him, nor are you, but we're never going to begrudge people bringing him in.
No, definitely get him in. I mean, round 27 buy is probably the other thing deterring people from him, but if you're a head-to-head player, you don't have to worry about that. And, look, round 27, it's going to be brutal anyway. I think we're going to be torn to shreds. Most of our teams are going to be fucked anyway in round 27. And I don't know how many people still have trades. I've got 5 left. I know you got 5 left as well. So, they could be all gone by then. So I don't know whether I'm going to have trades left, but I'm going to try and keep trades left for round 27, which I would recommend others do as well.
We're talking about burning trades, and another one comes to mind. He's been fantastic this year. He's been a season-long keeper. Has had his low scores, has had his high scores. Lucky Galvin with a 41. Went off clutching a groin and a knee, and I think we still have a bye for the rest of. I don't think we're done. I think we have one more bye. We may be done.
26 head-to-head grand final.
26, so head-to-head grand final. The problem with Lockie Galvin is there is no one else really to be looking at. Like, there's no one I can think to buy. But he's probably bordering on being a sell.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to let him rot, to be honest, as strange as that sounds. Like he's in 5'8", my 5'8" I can play Burton every single week because the Bulldogs draw is pretty nice. So I'll probably just play Burton at 5'8" and just let Galvin sit there. It just depends on, obviously, how long he's going to be out for. If it's season, it might be a way for me to downgrade, and Ange is keen on Trindle here in the chat. Which
I might have to rescind my Trindle slander.
I don't hate it.
It's a shallow pool to pick from, isn't it?
Yeah, we talked about Trindle 2 weeks ago, obviously, and the Sharks buy. Isn't it amazing how like whoever's on the buy, you just forget about them the next week. Like they just became irrelevant, and then you go, oh yeah, fuck Trindle, that's right. So a few people bought him this week, which ended up being a good trade. But and Munster probably a bit too pricey.
That's a pod move and a half. Don't hate it.
I mean, the only thing I hate about Munster is the fact that we know that he's already locked in for hip surgery at the end of the year. So, is he going to be able to get there to the finals? And are they going to rest him through that period to make sure he gets...
Is he also going to start? Wishard's doing a great job, and the Storm aren't losing games. I was very keen on Munster for round 1 next year, but then I heard that he's having to have surgery. I'm like, fuck, he's not young. He'll be over 30, I think, and it's like having 2 hip surgeries. It's like I'd probably just let it go, but. If we get news that Munster does start, I don't hate the pod move because now is the time to zig when others zag. More Supercoach relevant players from this game, mate. RTS at fullback, 79. RTS I feel like RTS has the Joey Manu syndrome. Unreal fantasy / Supercoach fullback. Horrendous real life fullback. Doesn't ball play, just goes himself, which is great for stat padding.
Yeah, but even then, the last time he played at fullback, he ran 3,700 meters and scored about 50. So it's just one of those things where he doesn't do a ton of anything else unless he jags those attacking stats late in the game, and he did in this one for a 79. But I don't know, against the Tigers, you kind of want a little bit more than a 79. And maybe that's a little bit rich of me saying I want more than 79. But it's the time of the season now, isn't it? Where you're chasing 90, 100 plus.
We gave off. Obviously, Awi Leotar with a 78. Unfortunately, it's just fucking ruined him for next year because he's going to be priced at way too. It's the Dean Mariner syndrome where like,
Yep.
you get a start midway through the year and it just kills your prospects for next year. So we'll have to be finding cheapies there. But we gave out 2 Ultra Pods on the Tuesday episode. Your one, Dylan Walker, a tidy little 71 points.
Yeah, he was solid, wasn't he? I think he scored 56 in fantasy as well. So, like, it looks like the minutes are there. It looks like nothing's really going to change for him. He's just going to keep fucking getting his work done in the middle of the field, which is great because he's got that ball playing too. He'll find you an attacking stat or two. He kind of plays like that link man role that Tohu plays, except he just doesn't want to just play this first receiver role. He just he wants to do more with it. He's not capable of being the good guy like Tohu is and just funnel the ball on. He has to do something with it. So
he plays the link man role, but there's no link. It's just get the ball and run, which is great. Which is great for scores. Exactly. Dalmatani's Lesniak continues to just fuck me sideways. I think I did the stats and I've owned him for a combined average of about 38 and not owned him for a combined average of about 73. Scored 70 this week, which is great considering I bought in Casey McLean, who I didn't play, and I used that money to get Angus Crichton, who did fuck all. So unreal stuff. Mitch Barnett with a 60, solid but underwhelming for what he's put up this season, and that is about it on the Warriors side. For the Tigers, Appy Coruscant is all that we have, and he scored a 93. A little bit misleading here. I know that Supercoach Guns was sort of sprouting his average at halfback, being like north of 70. He actually scored about 34 at halfback. A lot of his points this game came at hooker, so it will inflate his average when named at 7. So just keep that in mind. But goal kicking in everything, man, I'm glad that he gets some help next year because we are rancid.
Yep, late junk as well. As a non-owner, I was very upset, but also as an owner in fantasy, I was very happy. It's tough when you own one of them in one format and not in the other. So
you're praying for an anti-sweat. That was the thing. I was just like, is it possible for X player to go really well in fantasy or Supercoach on shit in the other? I used Appy as my first loop in fantasy and made it very easy. I just kept Marzu at interchange 4 and picked up 67 points from Appy. No one else to really talk about here. Semi Fainu gets 50 somehow. I don't really know what he did. Ruben Porter with the best 46 you'll ever see, somehow still sitting in my team. And Lockie Garvin, we've chatted about him already with a 41. Moving into the next game, the Eels 14, 32 to the Storm. Sean Lane, where was this? Where was this for the first 8 rounds of the year?
I sat him in draft as well. I said to you and Maddie in the chat, I'm like, are we in like 2022 again? Like, is this like Dylan Brown, Sean Lane 2022 stack going on? Because there was a lot of work going through that left edge for Sean Lane the other night.
Yeah, he got a couple of line break assists to try. He was getting involved in everything. And yeah, I mean, Dillbag's got his hands on the ball heaps, and we'll touch on him in due course. But yeah, 95 from Sean Lane. Obviously, I'm not going there, but good to see that he's somewhat bounced back. And yeah, I did see you set him in draft, which was not fun. His other edge partner, Bryce Cartwright, 77. So these two combined for 160 points in a side that scored 14. Not bad.
Pretty handy. I mean, they scored 739 points compared to 957 for the Storm, which showed you where all the ball was and where all the attack was in this game for obvious reasons. But, obviously we're probably not going to look at buying any of these guys really for the Eels, just due to the fact that the Eels draw still over the next couple of weeks is rotten. And, if you've got Dylan Brown, we've spoken about him at length about him probably being a hold, just due to the fact that, and he's shown it in this game, 69 points against a top 4 Supercoach defense team or top 4 defensive team in the comp at the moment. So, the fact he can get his hands on the ball as much as he did, 69 is pretty much bang on the average that he has when he plays in the halves with Dejan Arce as well. So he kind of got exactly what we expected him to get. So you can probably expect a little bit more than that moving forward. Not a sell, not a buy. Just
it was a big debate on social media this weekend, probably fueled by me as always. But I think it's a win-win for everyone. Like if you sold, Sam Walker did well. I'm trying to think of another halfback that did well. Like Matt Burton did fine. Obviously Cleary went well. Like I feel like Cleary was the only one that you sell to. Like I don't think a trade from Brown to Sam Walker was worth it. Yes, obviously Walker's got 100, which is fantastic. But Brown, I just don't see him scoring below 50 for the rest of the season. And yeah, he won't score 100. But like you don't need hundreds. David Fafita has only scored 100 this year and is doing well. Sure.
And
sure.
just sitting in the
I will concede to Braden Trindle. But like I just think these trades are sort of semi-sideways, and when we have single-digit trades, it's like
You can't.
I'd rather just hold. So your super pod scored a 71. Mine with a 68 at 430 odd K. Ryan Madison at lock looked really nice.
He was good. He was kind of 2021 Matto, 2020 Matto. Back in the day when he used to just be that base stat beast that played 70 minutes at lock, or he was solid. He was really good, even on an edge. He can play 80 minutes, but. It's good to see him like getting exclusive minutes through the middle of the field because his PPM is just going to be through the roof. He's a big minute guy as well. So does that hold for the rest of the season? I mean, what do you reckon? Does Trent Barrett stay for the rest of the season, or because there was word that maybe Riles was going to take over? There's no point in doing that now.
Yeah, why? Like you're just tarnishing your stock. Like at least next year, if you're Riles, you come in, fans are like kind of high, or like they're like keen for a new change. Like if you're Riles, you come in for the last 3 rounds, you just get beaten, 20 to 10, 20 to 10, 20 to 10. It just sort of it kind of takes the sting out of it as a new player. So for me, like I wouldn't if I was him. Ryan Madison played 69 minutes exclusively through the middle, which is unreal. Lane and Cartwright both played 80. So we expected them to have good minutes. I mean, Joe O only played 37. Luca Moretti played 41. And Dan Kaya, he played 34.
I think it is.
Yeah. So like, looks like a lot of the minutes are going to be taken up by Lane, Cartwright, and Madison, considering, RCG only played 52 and Will McGregor only played 17 in that sort of Pawasa Famasuli role, just taking the sting out and then getting everyone rolling through. So I don't hate Matto as a buy, like as a cash out. I don't hate Brett Nicker and Ryan Madison and then going like Terrell May to AFB. Like, I think you get big upgrades at front row forward and you probably go sideways at 2RF whilst making 300K. So, yeah, don't hate that at all.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind that. Shout out to Joey Lussick. I know Matrix will want me to mention this, but Joey Lussick is the reason Matrix captain Cleary and didn't take the loop on Tedesco because he had Joey Lussick's 12 sitting there staring at him and he didn't take that loop off the back of that. And I know that Matrix loves Joey Lussick and wants to get a Joey Lussick mention on the podcast nearly every week. So I'll do that for him. I'll be that sacrificial lamb. But shout out to him. Now, Cam Munster, 32, he'll bleed some cash, 143 break even for Cam Munster. He'll drop 100K. So can we get sub 600K Munster? Is that worth a crack?
What, next year or this year?
Now, like next week, he'll be sub 600K.
I mean, he's got to start. I just don't know if he does. I don't see why he would start. Like, Wishart's been fine. Like, Wishart still scored 66. I know a lot of people were selling Wishart this week, and probably for good reason. Like, I just didn't expect him to play it sort of at lock after Munster came on. He scored 66 again, so he's been unreal. Warbrick, shout out to the 6 people that own Will Warbrick, 113 for him. But Ryan Pappenhausen, 94, no goal kicking. This guy is very similar to Dalamatini Selesniak because he is just going up and down, up and down. 67 average, so his average will probably spike to sort of a 71. What price does he have to be to start with next year? Non-goal kicking.
Oh, non-goal kicking. What's he at now? 600.
So let's say he starts at 700K.
No, not at 700. I would dabble, no goal kicking. I'd dabble under 650. I reckon.
So similar to
maybe season. Closer to 600 maybe than 650. If I could get him under 625, I'd probably start with him just based on that. If he was,
I don't see where he comes back and he's the main goal kicker with Nick Mead inside, like ever.
Nah, not at all. Nah, they don't need him to, especially just to preserve his career as well. Like that's just one less thing that they're going to be asking him to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I don't think he's a guy we'll look at for the run home. Considering we're talking about guys like Ponga, Turbo, and Walsh has been good as well.
Trell when he's back next year. Like all these guys have goal kicking in there. Arsenal. I was very ready to start slandering Eli Katara on social media at about the 55th minute mark, and then he had a try assist and a try and saved that for another week. He scored a 90. Great for him. Jerome Hughes, I'd say 60. Like it's pretty average for Jerome Hughes, considering the standards that he's set. But also, I'd love to see him win Dally M. I was talking to you boys about this in the group chat. Feels like the first time in a long time that a player from a good team's won the Dally M. Like I know Nico won it from the Sharks, but the Sharks are just a one-man team. KP is a one-man team. Cleary hasn't won it ever.
No, he's never won a Dally M.
No, I think he's been suspended or injured too many times. He won a halfback of the year, but like there hasn't been a time where a playmaker from a good side's won it. So I'd love to see him win it. Harry Grant with a 58. I'm done with Harry Grant, man.
I'm
Like,
so fucking off that guy. Like, I just want to rant, but I actually don't even have the fucking energy to rant on Harry Grant. You know?
if he starts, okay, so he's averaging 65 for the season. If he finishes with a 65 average at 600 and say 65k next year, do we just go there again for 665?
No, you probably have to, don't you?
He plays. He plays 80. He'll be like involved.
Does he?
Set and forget.
Does he play 80? Like, I just feel like Wishart there now can play hooker. Like, they just feel, yeah, okay, Ange. Starling and Trindle. Very interesting little pod combo going on here.
Starling next year could be good if Ricky's off Levi, because it feels like Levi's playing about 6 minutes a game.
Watch Starling end up being like 550, 575 because he averages like fucking 70 for the rest of the season.
I've always had that opinion. Like, if Starling played 70 plus, he would average 70 points. Like, I love Starling, but I need to see more from Ricky. I love how we're talking about next year already. We're done with this season. But no,
we kind of have to be.
Grant at 660, I would definitely start with next year. And then Sean Bloor, very glad that I sold him. And that's about it. And we've already chatted on Munster. Suafa'alongo with a 2. Cool.
Yeah, great. I mean, look, Suafa'alongo, if he becomes a fullback at another team, great, I'll pick him. That's pretty much where it ends for me. Super talent as well. It's just a shame he's stuck behind Pappy. So we'll wait until he gets a proper regular gig in the NRL somewhere. And someone's going to snaffle him up. Surely someone offers him big money.
Imagine him with the Bulldogs.
Imagine him anywhere else. Like, he gets stuck behind, as long as he doesn't go to the Roosters or like Manly or, gets stuck behind Turbo or Teddy or one of these guns.
I think who needs a fullback? Like, I'm trying to think who generally would need a fullback. Like, I know Tracy had a game, but like the Bulldogs could do with him. The Dragons.
Does Connor Tracy lose his utility status this year because he's played so much of one position? Because that's a concern for the Bulldogs because they only saw utility.
Yeah. But speaking of the Dogs, 41-16 up in Suncorp. I think the Broncos were just stunned because this wasn't at 7:50 on a Friday night.
Yeah, maybe. It felt like when you look at their team list, they had all their guys back. They were heavy favourites, $1.30 favourites. Shout out to them because they ruined the Punters Club multi for me this week. $1.30 favourites against the Bulldogs, who had no Stephen Crichton, who is literally like the backbone of this team. Essentially,
Stephen Crichton is the Bulldogs. No Addo still, like no Max King.
You know how Chaz Michaels is figure skating. It's Stephen Crichton is the Bulldogs.
Yes,
because I wrote him off. I wrote him off completely, and I shouldn't have, clearly, because they came out absolutely fucking gunslinging against a very shattered Broncos team that just looked disinterested, which was really bizarre because their whole season is on the line now, and I could probably say that they're done and dusted for the year. 13th, 20 win. They got 20 points. They're 2 wins out of the 8. Now that the Dolphins
they have one bye left, so probably one win.
Bye. Warriors ahead of them have a bye. Knights just had their bye. Dragons don't have a bye left, do they? Raiders don't have a bye left either. And Dolphins don't. So
they're 1 win out of the 8, yeah, but still, like, they pretty much need to win out. They need to run the table to make the finals.
They can't lose ones.
No, which is pressure. Marty Tapau celebrating a try in Try July. He's 250th, down by 40. Play on. It's kind of weird Try July because it's like you're down by $1 million, but you've still got to do it for charity.
Yeah, and what is it? What do they donate? Is it $1,000?
I think it's $1,000 for a celebration.
You got to do it, don't you?
Oh, it's just funny. It's just funny to watch a team down by 40 and a guy's like signaling to the heavens 5 minutes out from the line. Like, yeah. I play on, I respect it, but it is funny.
Yeah. No, I won't critique him too much, but I guess Reece Walsh 57 in this one as well. Like, I feel like Reece Walsh is one of those guys that just like, he talks openly about the fact that he does, like, everything happens in his head way too quickly. He's like, he's deciding to do things and fucking his body just takes over. And before he even thinks, he's fucking thrown a pass and offload one-handed over the back of his head and it's gone straight to another player. Like, if he gets that out of his game, eventually when he matures, obviously he's going to get that out of his game, hopefully. But
yeah, he's just turned 22. Like, he's still he
can seriously be one of the best players that's ever played this game, talent-wise.
100%. I do wonder how he will go when he's so 28, 29, because he's so reliant on speed. Like, he will have to develop that other part of his game, similar to like a Tedesco. And I don't know if he's big enough, but again, he's still 22. But
so much time. And it's like Darren Lockyer at the back end of his career kind of thing, played fullback forever and then kind of, developed into a 5'8".
Yeah, just moved into the front line. I could see like KP doing that as well when he gets older. But yeah, Walsh 57, 30 points of that came in one play. It was looking like a very grim week if you were.
That's what you expect from him, though.
Yeah, of course.
He does score his points in clumps. But yeah, that's probably why I didn't pick him and probably why I did pick Turbo over him, because my heart can't take it. There's been a large amount of players that have let me down already this year, and I just can't take it one more really severely letting me down every week. So,
one player that won't let you down, Payne Haas, 80 points in a side that got absolutely throttled.
Solid.
Unreal, but does have the bye, so that's what you have to contend with, as is AFB. So it's like, can you cover?
Yeah. Look, out of those two, who you pick? You're picking probably AFB just with the upside, the try scoring upside, 100 plus upside.
I feel like if you're ranked highly, I would take Haas from the pure fact that you're not going to have to fucking scramble in round 27. So that's the only difference for me. But yeah, no one else of real relevance. There's a lot of Dean Mariner slander in the chat. The edges got cooked, and they were cooked by two players. Connor Tracy, 167. Feels like they went under the radar. Everyone's creaming themselves over Cleary getting 170, but Tracy just quietly, just a casual 167 for him.
Just a casual 167 when he scored 3 tries and 3 try assists in this one, which there's
no goal kicks.
No goal kicks.
So 167. No goal kick.
Insane. I'm a big Connor Tracy fan. I like him as a player. I think he's kind of just been dicked around a little bit up until now, and he cover centre and cover wing and play 5'8" and come off the bench in the 14, and he hasn't had any sort of security around his role in previous years when he was at the Sharks, especially. So it's nice to see him getting just a crack, like a consistent crack in one position to show what he can do. It just now, is it enough for him to lock down the fullback role at the Bulldogs moving forward long term, or are they going to still look to recruit or go and hit the market for a fullback?
I don't know. Hayes Perham's still lurking around, isn't he? He was a great experiment.
Yeah.
And the other man that really took advantage of it, Jacob Greg Inglis Carraz, just dominant. You were posting on Twitter about how disappointed you were that he got moved to the centres. You thought it was doom and gloom. The world was over. Nothing to be worried about, mate.
No, all good. I did the same thing with Val Holmes as well. And I said, should I whinge about Val Holmes getting moved from the wing to centre this game? And he did well as well, which was great. So maybe, whinge and win, one of those situations this week. But he was fantastic. He just finds the ball in his hands, takes the hard runs. Base was up, obviously, because he was defending at centre. You get a few more tackles there, and, you get the ball a little bit earlier. And usually when a player goes from the wing to centre, you worry about their attacking upside. You worry about the fact they're not going to get as many line breaks or as much opportunity as they would on the wing in attack, but kind of the opposite. He just went looking for the ball a little bit more, and those edges are fucking disgusting. So, he took advantage of that pretty quickly. And Ian Johnson, his Matrix taking a night off, just like the Broncos, mate. Yeah, he's sleepless Matrix at the moment, looking after a newborn. So we'll give him a pass.
A couple of other ones. Preston got 100. I know that he was popular for a bit, then he got injured, so no real relevance there. Skelton, always been a huge Skelton fan. Sherry 74, and that's sort of where the relevance dies. Josh Curran did come off with a potential medial strain. Physio said that he managed to walk off on his own, so hopefully just a sprain and could play next week. But definitely worth noting, only 53 for him, which is the lowest he's done in a couple of weeks, and that's really it for them. Matt Burton, you've probably got to be disappointed here with a 52, considering the sides scored 41 points.
Yes, he got downgraded from a 67 down to a 52 as well. So 67, I was more than happy to sit on and go, yeah, you know what, that worked out all right. But yeah, 52 just feels a bit mid for, I kind of paid for a 52 anyway. I was lucky enough to buy him at about 5.30. So it's not the end of the world. And he's a guy I'm more than happy to play each and every week. Like when we look at the Bulldogs draw, they've got the Raiders, who played some pretty gritty footy today. They've got the Dragons, who just got slaughtered by Penrith at home. You've got Dolphins, Warriors, Manly, Cowboys for the run home. Like that could be, we could be looking at, 6 wins here for the Bulldogs on the run home. So yeah, I'm not overly worried about Burton. I think 50's fine. That 50's probably his floor too, to be fair.
I also think the Bulldogs, this may sound stupid, are probably the only side that could beat Penrith. I don't think they could beat like the Roosters or the Storm. But I'm talking matchup wise. I don't think that's the best team in the comp. But I don't know. Dogs could have a bit of a shake come finals. So
Do you reckon it's like Master versus Apprentice kind of stuff for the grand final?
yeah,
Cleary?
yeah,
I
definitely.
like that.
Definitely.
That'd be cool.
All right, moving on to the Cowboys 30-22 Sharks, top scored by Kyle Felt bullying a 19-year-old. What a champion.
Screams in his face after he scores his third try at the end of the game. What a man.
And the game's over. Yeah, against a child on debut. What a champion.
That was his that was his try July, I'm told. That was his try July, just screaming at the kids, you know. Yeah.
Val Holmes, 104. Bounce back for Val Holmes. We were talking about selling him on the down. And then there's reports that he could be off to Wollongong, of all places.
Yeah, well, the Cowboys have told him that he's free to negotiate with other clubs, which is an interesting play because I thought, you know, they obviously loved him there, and I'm sure they do. But yeah,
I guess you've got Purdue and Labour there that could be on far less money. You're gonna have to pay. Or you paid an NI last season, and got paid a fair whack. So did Cotter. So it's like you need to find money elsewhere. And obviously the Tamalolo deal is still very much hurting them. I'm sure Drinkwater will be up for an extension somewhat soon, and he'll probably deserve one. So,
hey, you know what? Does this make Drinkwater relevant next year if he gets the goal kicking with Val Holmes?
Oh, no, I can't do it. No, I can't. I think I've set a precedent that I couldn't do it. No, I'm definitely keen if Drinky does get the goal kicking. Probably adds 20 points to his average, which could be good, or it could be awful. Like if he's practicing with Damien Cook in the off season. So depends on how he goes. But I think our boy Ange, who has been putting out some outrageous takes this episode, puts out a pretty good one. Does Hammer play fullback at the Dragons next year if he signs? That could be hot.
Oh,
Centre wing Val.
I mean, Sloan clearly is not in favour. He played New South Wales Cup today, so that was a dropping, not an injury. And Matt Feeney, I can't imagine they're going to be relying on him to be playing fullback moving forward. So, I mean, maybe they buy him at fullback.
He's currently averaging a lot. My app is being slow. I think he's averaging like north of 85. He's dropped a fair bit, 73. So I think he probably finished the season at like a 76. So if we're getting him for like 780 at fullback in the center wing, I'd definitely do it. This wasn't teed up, but what a segue. Ian Johnson said, I heard Val was going back to the New York Jets at the running back. Now, if you do like your NFL, our boy Matrix has been cooking up his draft board for the last 4 or 5 days. Just hasn't stopped.
He has. He doesn't stop. The man.
Now, you know more details than me. Where can people find the draft board and all things NFL? Because the fantasy football season is starting very, very soon.
Yeah, it is. So Guns and Maverick and Matrix are all putting together their NFL draft boards at the moment. So we're going to find that on Patreon very soon. But the NBA draft board is even closer, Josh. It's 5th of August, I think the NBA draft boards are dropping. So fantasy basketball is kicking off pretty soon as well, which is cool. So if you're a fantasy basketball head like we are, and I'm in way too many leagues, I probably need to cut back this year actually. But if you want to basically get in the heads of our analysts, Matty G, you've got Skitty, you've got Mally, you've also got Matrix, and you want to basically get their rankings from 1 to 200 all the way through. We've got 2 different draft boards for you. You can get yourself a $15 one, which gives you a limited draft board of up to 200 for a couple of analysts. But our big one, our big 4 analyst board, consensus ranks, where it puts it all together for you based on all 4 of these guys and how they've all structured it. That'll only cost you $30, and it will be in our Patreon, which will be going live very soon as well. So if you go to patreon.com/Insight Fantasy Sports, you'll see it there. You can pre-purchase it, and it goes live on August 5th. So very exciting times for the boys over at NBA.
What a segue. That definitely, I promise you that wasn't teed up, but it just worked super well. Back to the Cows, Nanai with 100. Shout out to him. And yeah, Scotty Drinkwater, 89. Just probably can't put him in that tier 1 of fullback. I guess the positive of the Drinkwater, like if you're a draft player, he has so much more higher stocks because he plays every game. He'll rack up more points. But definitely next year, if Val goes and he gets the goal kicking, that could be very, very hot. But no one else really of relevance for the Cowboys. Definitely keen to see who plays in the halves next year. Whether it is like a Chester or a not Chester. Goodness, what's his name? Played for the Knights, sucked.
I don't know.
Clifford, Jack Clifford.
Oh, him. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Do they? Oh no, they probably couldn't because they wouldn't have someone to go back to fullback, would they?
I was going to say Drinky at 5'8".
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Drinky at 5'8" in halfback, maybe if they wanted to play around with that potentially. He's very capable, but I think Drinky's been way too good at fullback to change that.
Got some options next year. Reece Robson with probably the worst game I've ever seen him have for Supercoach, 38. And yeah, Ruben Cotter and Jason Tamalolo. Now, Tamalolo suffered a pretty bad HIA, as did Ruben Cotter, so they'll both miss next week. So if you've got those, plan for that. For the Sharks, mate, I'm seeing a K Eero with a grey band around him because normally it's a green band. Normally it's a green band every week for 55 points religiously. And this week I decided to. No.
I traded him 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I traded him in round 19. Actually, I traded him to free up cash. And that's when he started scoring. So you're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. I have turned Kailero into a try-scoring beast. And
and not only did you turn him into a try-scoring beast, he scored a try when the Sharks had 12 men on the field.
No, I know.
Just I knew I was cursed then. When Kailero scores, when his team's a man down, and I play him for the past 47 weeks, and I just don't play him this week. It's an 84. And our boy Trindle, 81. So definitely worth a shout for him. The only problem is the price. Minus 42 break even this week, 513K. So probably going to go up another 100. So he's going to be 613. I don't know if I can pay 613K for Braden Trindle.
Nah. Not at that price. I didn't actually realize it was going to be that expensive.
Minus 42 break even.
I can't pay that much. This week was the week if you wanted to get on, but everybody needed Cleary. So unless you went early like you did. So, a lot of people were just trying to find money to free up cash to get Trindle. But now I think he's probably he's not too far gone. This is that Jaden Campbell syndrome all over again, where like he's more money than you would want to spend, but he still could put up decent numbers for the run home too. It's just
61 or whatever his price. So now, what are your thoughts on the Ronaldo Mulatalo, a bit of Jeff Hardy in the corner?
Yeah,
big fan.
I like Jeff Hardy. Yeah. I'm a WWE teenager from
Matt Hardy.
Waco.
Matt Hardy actually retweeted that today.
Did he? That's sick.
Big vibes from Matt Hardy. Yeah.
Completely off topic. Cool. Did you see Wacko Whispers get a retweet from Pat McAfee?
From Pat McAfee, yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Mate, it's all happening. Good to see Wacko back as well. We were all wondering where he was. Had a death in the family, so very good to see Wacko back. But yeah, it's all happening on the front. Now, I did say last week I wouldn't be buying Trindle with an inexperienced fullback, but man, Iceland scored 60.
Can we just keep him there? Will Kennedy's such a bin. Like, I'd be more than happy to just keep Iceland there for the rest of the season. He was awesome. They won't do that, obviously, but
awesome.
I'm not a Will Kennedy
fan.
There,
bring Matt Moylan back, just so we can have Hines back being Hines.
Mm-hmm. And feel free to put Talakai back to centre, and Kira Kailero can just come off the bench and be an AE nightmare for everybody who owns him. That'd also be good.
What are we doing with Hines next year? I can't start with him.
What's he going to be? 6. Do we know?
Not if Trindle's at 6. I don't care what. If Hines could be $2 million and I still paid for him if it was just him. But with Trindle, we've seen enough.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. His season average is still going to be like 80. So the issue with that is he's still going to be priced at like fucking, late 700s at the absolute cheapest, probably early 800s again this year. So he'll be a discounted based on what we paid for him this year. Would we pay $950 or something to start the year for Nicho Hines? But you're right. I mean, I got ripped to shreds at the start of the year for saying that Nicho wasn't a permanent captain option with Trindle in the team. And then Trindle disappeared and everyone ripped on me. Even though Trindle disappeared, everyone kept reminding me about the fact I said that he's not a permanent captain option. And then he comes back and basically ruins Nicho again. So I feel like I'm right. I feel like I'm vindicated as much as it's destroyed my season by holding Nicho Hines all year. It does hurt him. 100% it hurts him. Trindle wants the ball in his hands way too much for Nicho to do what he did last year and the year before.
100%. I can't start with him. So it'll be Cleary. Even then, Cleary's not like Cleary with Dylan Edwards in the form he's in, so it's going to be interesting. Brenton Nikora. Let's chat about him. 730K. Had a 48 break even, so he'll only lose not even $4,000. So Nikora for 730, I can get around selling.
If you're using the cash to get to your AFB at front row forward and you've got the jewels or whatever, yeah, I'm all aboard. I mean, if you don't have the jewels, because that's my situation at the moment, I've got 5 gun 2 RFs, he's the 5th, and I don't have the jewels to get up to a front row forward, so I'd need to sell him for a 2 RF. Would it still be a viable option to look at a key on, or would you just sit on him knowing he's your 5th 2 RF and that you can just play him on matchup?
I don't know. Like, Murray's back in, 2 weeks? So it's like, that's something worth considering. Keon's great. Keon at lock is unreal. But, mate, what are you telling me? You don't own a Miles Martin? You don't own a Sione Fanu?
Actually, no, I own Fanu. Yeah. Oh, no, I could do it. But do I want to? I don't know. I mean, I don't even like finding.
No, and Nikora to Angus is not sideways, despite the poor score from Angus this week. That's absolutely not sideways.
Yeah, it's an upgrade.
I think Katoa, Crichton, and Fafita are essential, and then Nikora is probably expendable. I'd only get rid of Nikora if it's to Haas or AFB. I probably wouldn't do it to another 2RF. I mean, yeah, if Murray was out for the season, then fantastic. I know Murray was playing on an edge when he came back from Origin as well, but like, is the presence of him there just going to fuck it around? Like, I don't know, but Keon's been unreal at lock, so definitely worth considering him. But yeah, I'd probably be going to what's his name, AFB or thing. Ian Johnson, I will star your question and we'll come back to that one because it's not relevant right now. And that's about it. Cam McInnes sucks and is being played for about 6 minutes a game, which I just do not understand.
Everyone picked Cam McInnes in Bundy Mixer because he
averaged. I did say that. I was very happy
during Mixer last year. Like, everyone's looking at the averages during the Mixer period and going, "Oh, Cam McInnes, what a fucking weapon! I'll get him in." And
doesn't realize he's averaging about 40 for the last 5 weeks. I anti-potted him, but I picked Damien Cook, and he also did fuck all, so I can't really gloat too hard there.
Yeah. Rumor about Damien Cook. He was hanging out with Chanel Harris-Tavita over the week. So, yeah.
There was also a stinker in the NRLW. Whoever the goal kicker for the Roosters is, she had one right in front to send the game to extra time and missed it. So happens to the best of us. But probably the game of the round, or the Supercoach game of the round, it had Tedesco up against Trebojevic. Now, you and I were very, very firm on not buying Trebojevic this week, and we got crucified for it. I feel very vindicated in our stance. Yeah,
look, I mean, the Roosters are the best defensive team in the competition this year. They also, and I'm just not even talking about Supercoach. I'm talking about points conceded in the NRL. But then off the back of that, they're also the best Supercoach team in defense as well. They've conceded the least Supercoach points to most positions. You put the graph up from SC Stats. Like, they're 16th or 17th in like 5 positions this year.
People think we pluck these like bold predictions out of nowhere. Like, we're not just saying fade Turbo for the sake of it. Like, I own Turbo, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, you're just salty. You haven't watched the last 2 weeks." But I was the main advocate for being like, go early on Trebojevic, buy him. But like, even I can admit when like it's not the play, and that's the thing. Like the Roosters are just the best defensive team in the comp, and Manly scored 30 points. One player scored over 70, and one player scored over 60. Like, they're just a juggernaut defensively. And I put up a thing that was like, Manly's game plan: give the ball to Turbo. If that doesn't work, give it back to Turbo and repeat the steps. And they're like, everyone's like, "Oh, they scored 30 points. They scored 18 of those off intercepts." How many tackles inside the Roosters 20 did Manly have to score 12 points? Like, the Roosters defensively are so good this year, like on par with the Bulldogs, like how defensively good they are. And they killed Turbo. And I just couldn't pay $815K for a guy who I thought was going to have a poor week and then has a bye next week. Yeah, he has an unreal draw for the run home. And people are like, "Oh, but what about the draw for the run home?" Buy him in 2 weeks' time.
I think if he didn't have the bye, you probably could have just copped the Roosters matchup, knowing he had a -30 break even. It's fine. But the fact that he had that bye after the Roosters just means you're paying. Now, anybody who bought him has bought him for a 22.5 average over the next fortnight. Yeah. So that's where it hurts you, because now you're sitting on all that cash for another 2 weeks or for another week doing nothing for you.
And we'll have a very different stance in 2 weeks' time. We'll probably be like, Turbo is the second best fullback to buy for the run home. KP first because he's at 650K, and then Turbo second at 880K. I'll still pay 880K for him then. But I wasn't expecting more than the 60. I didn't want to pay 815K for a guy who was going to average 30 points. And people are like, "Oh, well, I jumped on him last week." Well done. The purpose was, don't buy him this week with probably the second worst matchup you can have for a fullback. With a bye next week. Yeah, if he didn't have a bye next week, different story. But as you said, 22.5, 815K. Was happy to let it go this week and then, reassess next week. But
and James will definitely be saying buy him after the bye.
Oh, so, 100%. Like I said, he'll be probably the second best fullback to buy. The best for points and the second best for value. So, like, his stances can change. Tedesco upgraded to 130, which makes it a bit better. It's less of a sting, but he was unreal, mate. Absolutely sensational.
I don't really have much. Like, I was fucking so scared though, taking the VC off him and watching him play with nothing, like no armband on him at all. I thought that I was going to be looking at a 180 kind of VC and that I missed the boat and all that. And I'm obviously it just worked out luckily, but he very quiet second half. And not like he was terrible either.
No, he was still 100 at half time, and the game sort of fell into a bit of a lull, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And then, Manly had a little bit more ball in the second half as well and a few more errors from the Roosters. So, he didn't get the attacking opportunities that he did get in the first half. But fuck, they came out guns blazing in that first 20, 25 minutes and basically put the game to bed in the first 20 minutes. It was nearly impossible for Manly to come back there. And the fact that they got that close is actually a credit to them.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see Turbo's record broken. We would have to see a shootout. We would have to see a 50-46 type game for it to be broken because teams just put the cue in the rack. Even Cleary today, like he only scored 50 in the second half, and that was with a try and another try assist. Like I don't think 229-11 would be touched. And the only reason it was is because I think that Cowboys Manly game was like 46-34 or something ridiculous like that. Yeah. So it would have to take a shootout for it to get broken. But I posted on X before this game, in 80-minute games this season, Tedesco averages 92.4. With many coaches thinking Tedesco was on the slide, including myself. Has he turned a new lease of life? He'll be 32 come round 1 next year. Can you go there? Looking at the form that he's done. No Manu. So, more glue hands for him to have. Doesn't have to give the ball to anyone. No Suali.
Well, I'm 32, and I like to think he's just coming into his peak.
Isn't it funny? Like you hear commentators be like, "Oh man, Father Time's really catching up to him. He's 33," and you're like, "Oh damn."
Yeah, my life's over. Look, I don't care how old he is. It's one of those, are we looking at LeBron James going, well, Father Time's going to catch up? The guy just continues to break records and continues to play at that level. So Teddy will break down eventually.
Are you going to pay $900K for him next year?
No. And we're looking at fallen value for the most part, aren't we? It's always like, it was 2 years ago. It was like Turbo at $540K after he had the whole season off. And, there's so many other better options there than paying that kind of money. But again, hey, who knows how we're going to feel next year? We bought Kalen Ponga at $892,000 to start the season this year. So, depends on, yeah. Well, I should have just fucking held him. It would have been fine if I held him, but I traded him out, then traded him back in, then traded him out again. What a fucker.
Yeah, I think my fullback one averaged like 48 for like the first 9 rounds when I flipped between him and KP and Trell and Walsh. It just wasn't great. But Sammy Walks, 111 from him. Great stuff. Continues to, probably have his best Supercoach season ever. The floor is raised and the ceiling has even gone even higher than what it once was. Swalei, 96. Man, I just wish he didn't leave. Like with Manu going, you wish he stayed. I don't know if you do. I like watching him play. I wish he stayed.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like a good player, rugby union have a very, very good player on their hands there. But I reckon he'll be back at some point. He'll be back to rugby league.
Wallabies on the up. We've won 4 in a row. Wallabies on the up. Dom Young, 64 from him, and Angus Crichton, 49. Unfortunately, Angus's worst game of his run. The week that I buy him. So unreal stuff.
And again, I think we bought him this week because the matchup was fine against Manly. He was running at Carl Lawton, I think, on the edge. But, he didn't really have too much ball. Yeah, he didn't really have too much ball, did he? He didn't really have too much opportunity there. So, still fine, still a top 2 RF for the run home that you're going to want in your team. But
the fall off of Brandon Smith needs to be studied.
Yeah, what happened to him? 23. Shit.
Just in general, like, I don't know. This is like a bit of a self pat in the back. Remember when he dethroned Harry Grant and he was starting for Melbourne? And this was during the COVID years, and everyone's like, "Oh man, best hooker in the game." I was always very skeptical because his service at dummy half was poor and his tank wasn't good. And then he went to the Chooks and he's just been overthrown by Connor Watson and like Sandon Smith. Like,
yeah, it's true.
Man, like, where does he go? Like, is he a Chook next year?
Oh fuck, this is a tough question because if you asked me 4-6 weeks ago when there was all that kind of talk going on in the behind the scenes, it was all, nothing was proven. So I won't mention any of it, but there was talk there. They were trying to get rid of it.
Clubs don't leak that information if they want the player to stay.
Yeah. I think he'll be somewhere else next year. I think they'll probably be shipping him off, to be honest. Connor Watson's very capable of playing 9. Now that he's playing 13, he's very capable of doing that job. So yeah, you know what I'm really glad about though is that Billy Smith isn't playing for the Roosters at the same time Brandon Smith is, and it doesn't fuck up when I look at the scores. That's probably the most enjoyable part of this year. But Terrell May, mate, he's a guy that I will be moving on next week without a second thought. As soon as the app opens, I'll be trading him. And I was thinking, you know what? Like when Jared Waerea-Hargreaves obviously was out for suspension for 4 weeks, I'm thinking, fuck, Terrell May could be a hold. It could be perfect. I could have moved him on that week, and I held him because I was thinking he was going to get a bump in minutes. And it just doesn't look like it's there for him. Just like with, Collins being a fucking demon and Spencer Leniu getting many more minutes than I thought he would actually get. Yeah, I think Terrell May's you got to move him on.
It's like, it's not an issue if Terrell May can't play the minutes. Like Terrell May could play fucking 80 if you wanted him to, but it's just like, it's so confusing. So we probably lost 100K. Like I think he topped out at 730. 89 break even this week, 670K. Probably going to drop back down to 630. There's a couple of guys we can look at. Probably in the 2 RFs, like Reese is asking about Scott Sorensen. Love Hot Scott. You've mentioned Keon Koloamatangi. Like these are guys that you can move to if you're happy to either punt on front row forward or use some jewels to get in other guys.
Yeah.
Goodness me, water came down the wrong hole. But apart from that, man, like that's about it. I'm definitely looking at moving him on too.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't play him. For the Manly, there's nothing to talk about here really. DC scored 75, fantastic. Luke Brooks with a try, still didn't crack 50. Shout out to him.
Yeah, Ruben Garrick obviously with the
averaging 51 points on the year, but everyone told me that he was going to rip it up, man. He was going to be better than what he was last year.
Look, it's nice to be right.
Didn't get much right this year, mate, but we'll definitely take.
Yeah, we can bank that one for sure.
And Turbo 45. We've touched on him enough, but yeah, Ruben Garrick, man, he's becoming a liability with the HIAs.
Yeah. The 2 HIAs that he had in that game where Aman captained him, shout out to Aman, who's overseas living the dream right now. And Aman wasn't the only one. A lot of people, he was a very popular captain's choice that week. Now, the buy couldn't come at a better time, could it? Because he would have missed next week, obviously, with the 11-day stand down, but they had the buy anyway.
If you're going to pick around for someone to have a HIA, you pick it. I'd rather it happen in the 75th minute, not the 5th. Like that's the only thing. Yeah, it hurts a little bit. Jason Saab's in the same position. He was out. He got 4, so kind of even worse for Jason Saab, who got knocked out like 3 or 4 minutes after Garrick. So they lost 2 guys to HIAs within like 5 minutes. So it definitely helped Tedesco. It definitely helped those edges being absolutely ripped apart.
100%.
Yeah. Mate, 3 games on Sunday was treated, and an NRLW game. We had 4 games on today, which was unreal. First one, I was doing errands and took the loop on Tedesco the previous nights. Shout out to Miles Martin. It backfired hard. Cleary 178, unreal. 26 points, I think he scored today.
So good. Just did it easily as well. And also, we're never going to expect him to score a hat-trick, right? So, there's no... it wasn't like Penrith scored 58, 62 points and, it came in goal kicks and 5 try assists and all that. Like, he was scoring tries and he was in and around the ball. He was, doing a lot, running the ball a lot as well. I think Cleary had, after 20 minutes, I think he had, 87, 88 run meters. So, for me, I think...
17 hit-ups for Supercoach, 6 of them over 8 meters, 11 of them under. Finished up with a stat line. I'm going to be off the screen reading this. 3 tries, 2 try assists, 1 line break, 3 line break assists, 2 forced dropouts, 7 goals, 1 offload, 5 tackle breaks, and 17 hit-ups. Unreal. That could have been a whole lot more. Like I said, 3 tries, only 1 line break. Could have been a whole lot more.
So good. Yeah. No, look, if you're in the 7%, and you're in the running in the top, you're in the top 10% of teams and you don't own him because that's the stat at the moment. He's owned by, I think, 93% of teams. Right. You just buy him next week. And what's he going to, he's only going to gain 60K, but he has a negative 25 break even next week at 800K. So yeah, you can't not get it. He should be 100% owned next week. Simple as that.
104 break even is going to make a good chunk of coin. That's
crazy. Crazy. You mentioned Scott Sorensen. He was solid, 89. Liam Martin, 84. So the edges for Panthers were fantastic. Pod play, Scott Sorensen maybe.
Well, yeah,
more relevant.
He's only giving me 550. So I don't hate like a Britton Nickera to Hot Scott or a Britton Nickera to there was some other pods to RF that I was talking about before. And then using those funds to go May up to a Primo.
Yep. I think if you've got the trades, yeah, for sure.
If you've got like 5 trades like Braino and I, like that has to be it. Like that's got to your side. You've got to be content with your side, barring injuries. For me, like you probably can't make many more luxury trades with 5 trades in the bank. I might do it. Might leave myself 3 for 22 to 26. So that's 4 rounds for 3 trades. Sorry, 5 rounds for 3 trades. But you can't make any more luxuries. Like if Trindle comes out and scores another 120, like you can't really move Dylan Brown to Trindle because it's just you're getting thin.
Yeah. And also, like most of our advice moving forward is going to be based off the fact that we don't have enough trades for a lot of these kind of moves. So, when
like
you ask,
I love going Nickera to Keon Kalmatangi. I love going, Jack DeBell and up to, I don't know, someone half decent. Like, yeah, I love all these, but like sometimes we're just going to be handcuffed to do it. Like, yeah, another one here by Reese, like Teague Wilton. Sure, if you've got 10 trades, by all means go for it. But it's like, if you got 5, man, like you got to be fucking finalizing these primos, like May to a gun, and then maybe jumping off one cash cow in like a Nickera or a Galvin.
And if you're getting these guys like Scott Sorensen, Teague Wilton, whoever, the issue is who are you anti-potting to at 2RF? Because there are some very popular ones. Tamale Olakawatu after the buy is going to be, down in ownership because people sold him, but also a really good guy to have for the run home because Manly have a couple of really nice games there. You're not going to want to anti-pod Gus. Yeah, also for feeder, could do anything on the run home. And Keon's been outstanding. Like, who are you anti-podding? Who are you going against? Because I'd probably call most of those guys like top 4, top 5 2RFs. So
that's the thing. I think people forget when it comes to pods. They're like, oh yeah, my pod scored 75. Okay, cool. What'd your anti-pod score? Because if they scored 73, you made 2 points on the field. That's the thing. Like you've got to, your pod only works when the person you're anti-podding, goes off, like or goes terrible. Like that's the only thing. Like people that anti-podded Turbo this week did well, but they got creamed on the last week and the week before that. So there isn't more than just that to factor in. But yeah. That's about it, really. Yo scored 66. Cool. Casey McLean scored 54. Are you playing him at left center, or is he just a hole to fill?
Look, I probably want maybe a little bit more upside. Like Casey McLean's shown that the base has been there. Like I think before this game, didn't have one attacking stat and averaged like 46. He had a 40 and a 50 or something like that with no attacking stats. So he scored a try and scored 53 in this one. So that base dropped a little bit. But they scored 46 points, so there's a lot of fucking standing around doing nothing. So, Brian To'o scored 41 in this game, so that probably tells you something there that the base just wasn't there for most of these guys. But would I play Casey McLean? Depends who over. I'm probably looking at more upside, personally.
I'm playing you at around 27. That's about it. And mate, I'm really keen for Isaac Tungo when Nathan Cleary comes back. I think he's going to do really well.
Oh, dear. Yeah, well, I mean...
Played him over fucking hero.
It was worth a crack. It just didn't pay off, I don't think.
Fuck that hell.
Shame. Dane Laurie also got knocked out, so he'll for those pod hunters out there that went on Dane Laurie, who we both really liked this last week on. I bought him in fantasy. I think you did too.
Yep, yeah.
Yeah, that worked out beautifully. But he scored 50 in like 4 minutes.
Wilfred's been fucking cursed this year.
Yeah, he has. Did he buy?
I love his weekly updates. I love Wilfred's weekly updates of like who he's bought and then just immediately gets fucked.
Yeah, and everybody's like, "Tell me who you're going to buy next week so I can avoid him."
I love people. Yeah,
Panthers draw is nice. My only concern with any of these Panthers guys, there's a question in the chat about Nickera Yo. I like Isaiah Yo. If there was a guarantee he was going to play every game on the run home, I'd probably want him. But I'm scared of rests. I'm pretty much conceding the fact that Cleary will cop a rest at the back end of the year.
Cleary will cop a rest, Yo will cop a rest, Martin will probably cop a rest, To'o will cop a rest. All your Origin guys, they're probably copping rests.
Yeah, Lua.
Especially if the Storm just keep winning, because the minor premiership will be all but done. So
that's why I'm a bit. Yeah, I'm a bit.
I have 5 of them in fucking fantasy. I'm cool. and 27.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think
with,
I've got
with one
two.
trade. With one trade.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going to use
fun.
both my trades next week as well. I'm going to run a 0. Fuck it.
Attaboy.
But yeah,
for the Dragons, man, Jacob Little, cool. And that's fucking about it.
yeah, that's about
Zach
it.
Lomax, 58 in a side that scored 10 points is always good. But yeah, that's about it. And Jack DeBellin is stinky. Might just hold him for the tour.
Yeah, and Ian Cleary copped a 12-week rest. Don't think he rests. I think, regardless, especially with the hamstring.
What's the point of playing him in round 27?
Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense for them to continue to play him. He's got long enough of the time to find his feet again. I think they're probably just going to rest all those guys at the back
story
end.
if he's like 2 points off the Dally M, but like he's not. And Penrith, if they're not winning the Mount Minor Premiership, then I don't see why they wouldn't just rest him. But for the Dragons, whatever.
Yeah.
Dolphins, mate. Dolphins on the slide. For anyone that follows AFL, I'm going to compare the Dolphins to Essendon. Just in free fall and not good.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought they played pretty well against the Panthers last week, to be fair. They kept it within 2. Cleary had to bomb a 2-point field goal to win the game. So they were good last week. This week they were putrid. They completed 4 sets in the final 35 minutes of the game. Like, how can you complete 4 sets in 35 minutes? It's like woeful.
Yeah.
So yeah, not much good happening there. I went out on a limb and said Hammer as a bit of a pod player or super pod play to get him in this week, and he got 50. So not horrible, but I mean, you've got to be scoring 100 plus against the Titans as a fullback compared to what a lot of other fullbacks have done to him this year. So not what you'd buy, or not what you bought, I would say. But
yeah. Shout out to Max Plath. Fuck him.
71 after he basically everyone fucking had him all year, and then becomes a really popular buy like 2 weeks ago, doesn't he? So a popular sell, sorry, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And since he went to hooker, he's been shit.
He had the Kale Euro syndrome. Like, I've played him every week for 50s, and then I don't play him. He gets a 71, and he gets a fucking 80. So whatever, man. Like, it's just whatever. Shout out to Tevita Pangai Jr. 42 as a middle forward with a try. Unreal stuff.
How many minutes did he play in this one? 30? 35? I didn't see him on the field much.
No.
Yeah, well, I mean, aside from the 90, I feel like I'm still relatively on track with the fact that I don't want him and didn't want him. But yeah, that 90 in the buy round probably propped everybody up and made it worth a buy, really.
Okay. Well, this is a good segue, because if you're gonna celebrate your little wins on telling people not to get TBJ, we roll into Jaden Campbell, 101 points again.
Sorry, man, I just gotta go for a second.
Fuck this guy, man. Like, honestly, fuck you, firstly, but also this guy, man. Like, he continues to do it. I mean, 812k, 109 break even this week. So not going to lose anything. Been in scintillating form ever since he came back. Obviously, he's gone 78. Oh, sorry, 75, 77, 170, 111, 42, 100 plus again.
He's been good. He was mass sold this week too, because obviously his cash looked like it was topping out. I think 812k or something like that, yes. Which makes sense. I don't blame them for getting off, but I mean, it was a nice matchup for them this week. Everybody ripped on me a little bit for saying that the Dolphins was a bad matchup last week as well. The Dolphins are playing good football, and they are, but they're also leaking a lot of points. So maybe it was a week to hold on a little bit further, but I think Jaden Campbell was the pathway to Cleary. So if you went Campbell to Cleary, you're still ahead, about 60 odd points. So
yeah, I can't buy him. I can't buy him. I can't pay 800k for him. Like, at this stage, like, not anything against him. I just can't do it. Like, I just, if I have 400k in the bank, sure, but like, who's carrying that much cash? I just can't do it. Mo Fott with an 84, Lockie Camper 84, Fafita with an 80, just doing Fafita things. Brian Kelly with a 70, continuing to do Brian Kelly things. And that's about it, really. Not a whole lot else on the front today to talk about for all the Titans.
Nah, Fafita was quiet for about 3/4 of this game and had one or two
plays.
plays.
For 73 minutes and then got some mad junk at the end.
Which is lovely. That's why we own Fafita. And he is very well owned in the top team, so he's not even a differential at all. So everyone gets those points. But not much else to talk about in this one, mate. So we may as well talk about the last one, the Raiders and the Rabbitohs, 32-12 for the Raiders. I mean, Jamal Fogarty, 100. Like, Are we going to enter 2025 and just have Cleary and Fogarty? Is it going to be fantasy combo?
Oh, mate. Someone said Moses before, which could be a good shout as well.
Yeah,
Moses could be definitely in the consideration. But yeah, for the Fog with a 100-point game off a bicep tear. What a guy.
Yeah, I like that.
Show mascot Hudson Young with another good game, 94 this week. I think he had a good game last week as well. Just have to compare. Mate, his last 3 games versus the Rabbitohs before this were 94. That included this game. So 102 in his last outing, but hadn't played him since 2022. So it's been a bit of a between drinks for Hudson Young and the Raiders. But he's had a pretty good, probably, I guess, 10 weeks. Like Hudson Young's always up and down. He always has that attacking potential, but and a low base for a 2RF. But he's gone 72, 114, 88, 44, 57, 50, 45, and then 120 back with another 100-point game. So he is a strike 2RF.
Solid. Yep. Shout out to Phil as well, who absolutely hates Hudson Young, and he calls him Spudson Young very passionately. And, we like to rev him up a little bit and say that he's better than Hamoli Olakuatu. So I still stand by that. Hudson Young to the moon. Ethan Strange with a 70. He was solid. Joey Tarpany with a 66. Exactly what you would expect from Joey Taps. I think his minutes are probably around max as well. I think he's playing around 55 minutes a game, which is great. So hopefully it stays like that. But knowing Ricky, he'll go back to playing 42 minutes for the last 5 weeks. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But
Tommy Starling, currently averaging 28.8, has played. Fuck, I don't know. I can't even read. I can't even read the new overlay. How many games he played this year? A few.
Yeah, but not many like decent minute games.
No, but I just want to know how many games he's played in general, because I'm just curious on how much his average is going to be inflated. If Starling averages if he finishes the year averaging 55, straight in my team next year.
16
I'll just run two hookers. I'll just run Grant and Starling. I mean, if Mamazoulis looks like he's getting good minutes, if Humphries isn't taking minutes off Mamazoulis, then potentially looking at him too. But I think Starling has to be a lock for our teams next year if Levi is on the out and Wolford's not doing Wolford things.
Yeah, I like Tommy Starling. I think that Ricky Stewart just doesn't like Tommy Starling.
Ricky has a love-hate relationship with Tom Starling.
I always picture that, the picture where the bench is empty and it's just Tom Starling sitting on the end and Ricky Stewart sitting all the way up the other end. That image just rings true in my mind. That
with him at the furthest end of the bench, and
right at the other end of the bench, and Tom Starling sitting there by himself on the edge of the bench. There's anyway, whatever. Tom Starling's a great player, and I think if he got the minutes, it's very clear here with the last 3 weeks that when he does get the minutes, he's a great hooker and a great player and a great Supercoach asset. So hopefully he can find some minutes next year, but I doubt it. Shout out to Elliot Whitehead getting binned after the buzzer for a flop. And that could be my next backdrop for Tuesday with Tom Starling sitting on the edge of the bench. I like it. Good shout.
100%.
No one else really relevant here for the Raiders.
No. For the Bunnies, headgearless Tallis Duncan enters Supercoach Folklore. We had headgear IPAP earlier this year. We have now have headgearless Tallis Duncan. Cody Walker with a 72, Keelan with a 71, just all in BP, which is unreal for him. And then it really falls off, but the big talking point here is Alex Johnson, looking like 5 to 8 months. If it's the 5 months, he'll be back for round 1 next year. If it's the 8 months, then new coach, get Gagai there. Gagai performing well.
He's not dropped. He's not getting dropped before he scores 200 tries. He's on 195 right now. No one is dropping him before he hits 200. He might not get to Ken Irvine, but you can't, can you? You can't just say, sorry, AJ, too bad. I know you're chasing this unbeatable try record.
I know we all love AJ and we want him to get the record, but he's not a good winger. He's slow. He makes very bad defensive reads. He's now coming off the back of an Achilles injury.
That should probably affect his explosiveness a fair bit, I would say, next year.
Explosiveness isn't there?
He's no Kobe Bryant. He's not going to come back better, that's for sure.
No, but KD is the only person that I've ever seen, and maybe SJ. KD came back from Achilles and was really good. SJ came back from Achilles and was really good. I don't know, man. He's just, I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah, zero chance of this happening.
Yeah, Trell's not coming back, surely.
Wait, you don't reckon?
I don't. I mean, what do they have to play for now? Their season's over.
Are they done?
Yeah, they're in 15th. They're
but
in
like,
the same spot the
like
Broncos and
mathematically,
Titans.
they're done. Like, I don't see a world where Trell doesn't come back.
So they've got to play. They've got to win at least 3 games, and then you've got to rely on the Raiders, the Dragons, the Dolphins, Knights, and the Warriors to lose 4 of their last
I
6.
thought I read this at South for like, no, Trell's coming back.
Yeah, I saw the thing that they were saying he's coming back, but like, fuck, it just doesn't make sense. Like, they've got to go undefeated.
I feel
And
like
then
I
they've
feel
also
like
got to
when- I feel like
rely
when that
on.
I feel like when that M word is still used,
Yeah,
you're still trying. I don't know. Like, I don't see a world where Trell doesn't come back.
he
And I don't
probably
see
just
well.
comes
I don't
back
see
and-
well. I don't see well. Trell comes back and plays center either.
No, that's not. No, if he comes back, he's playing fullback. I think. I mean, maybe he just comes back and beats up on a few fucking shit teams, and on the run home, and they finish 12th or 13th. And Trell feels good about himself because he came back and scored points.
Yeah, exactly. Makes it look more respectable. But that's the end of the conversation. We spent a lot of time today talking about next year, which I'm all in the mood for.
Well, I mean, we've got like 6 rounds to go, don't we? 6 rounds, 22 to 27. One more round before head-to-head finals as well. So we'll probably, I mean, I'm sure we're going to start getting questions around that kind of stuff. So we'll probably ramp up head-to-head.
So this is the content that I like to see. These are the
what we
comments that we like to see. Tigers can still mathematically avoid the spoon.
When I say Justin P, I always question every week whether it's Justin Pascoe in disguise in our chat. But now I know that it's not because Justin Pascoe wouldn't be reminding us.
He would say that we're done.
Yeah, he definitely. So shout out to Justin P in the chat. That would be lovely. But I think we're in for our 3rd spoon in a row, unfortunately.
Absolutely. We have a couple of questions. So a lot of people are asking where the basket is today. As you can see, the futon's down because I've been doing cleaning today. So my house is actually clean for once. So the basket is not there.
So you've actually been doing some washing?
I haven't been. Fuck no.
Yeah, okay. Shout out to the missus.
I have a magic basket. Like when my missus is home, I put clothes in it and they end up back in my dresser. But when she's on placement or she's at work, it just stops working. Same with my bed.
She must turn there must be like a switch or something that she turns off on like auto.
There's that Troy Kinney sketch from a couple of years ago when like the cops came in. He's like, my missus disappeared, and the cops like, I got the same magic basket too. You have to find it. It's elite areas. But we have a couple of questions. Firstly, from longtime follower Josh Strange, he wants to know what's everyone's GYG order.
I'm a bit of a burrito bowl guy. Just a
burrito bowl.
Burrito. Yeah, burrito bowl is my go-to. I'm never been a big just stand burrito. You know, when I go to the kebab shop, I'll get like a snack pack or something.
Are you mixed? Are you always mixed, or are you like getting the one
beef.
meat? Oh, really?
Just one meat guy. Yeah.
So what are you getting on the burrito bowl?
Oh, fuck. I haven't had Guzman in God knows how long. So
really?
I reckon it's been a good 3-4 years since I've had a burrito. The
reason I commented because I had Guzman today. It went hard.
Well, you kick us off then because I haven't had it for a while.
So I'm a burrito guy, but I'm a mini burrito guy. And I will fluctuate between chicken or braised brisket, which they have. Adding sour cream, of course. Adding chipotle mayo. And always getting a Coke Zero. I'm a bit of a Coke Zero binge at the moment.
Not a water guy? Matrix goes to KFC and gets a water with his.
That's pretty fucking weird. Like if I'm gonna get a soft drink, I'll get a no sugar soft drink. But I pump enough water at home. Chicken Cali. So you haven't been to GYG for a bit. Chicken Cali goes hard. I had that today. So the Cali is a burrito, but it's got chips in the burrito.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
It goes hard. And it's got guac in it too. Like you don't have to pay for guac.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I also get no beans because beans are fucking putrid.
Yeah, no, I don't get beans. No. So the reason I don't go to these places because my wife she's a celiac, so like there's a lot of stuff that we just can't eat when we go out. It has to be like free. But even like
supportive, you have to be a supportive partner. You can't just.
I mean, I'll get my fair share of pizza and mac.
I was gonna say, is that why your car just reeks of a Zigger box whenever you like travel on your own?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. She'd just leave eat all my food in the car, but. We don't go out to eat often because she can't even have like cross contamination in restaurants and shit. Like if something is cooked on the same grill as something else, she can't have it. So it's
fuck that.
It's not
sorry, but fuck that. I think we had this one
gluten-free bread as well. Disgusting, by the way.
We had this one. I think we had a couple of weeks ago. Subway orders, but we can rehash it.
I'm a chicken classic guy. Lettuce, tomato, onion, chipotle sauce, and barbecue sauce, and then I'll just get.
Your favorite position is a missionary. Fuck, you're boring.
I know. But I'm a boring eater. I'll go to the pub and I'll get chicken schnitty and chips every single time.
No, that's fine. It's old reliable. I'm a toasted Italian herb and cheese with mozzarella and
Mhm.
I'll fluctuate between a BMT, so the ham, or a chicken. I'll make like a chicken palmy. I'll get the marinara sauce with the mozzarella on top, and then like the works, pretty much everything but olives, beetroot, and that's about it, really.
Yeah, okay.
Am I coming to Campbelltown round 27 for the Battle of Spoon between the Tigers and the Eels? Probably not this year, but I am moving to Sydney next year. So Braino and I will probably be attending more Tigers games and ending in more tiers next year. So not this year. I believe it's my last Sunday episode for the year, and Tuesday will be my last episode in general because I'm off for the rest of the season. But definitely, yeah, moving to Sydney next year, which is going to be cool.
I'll be there. Ian.
Are you going to go?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I mean, it's like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll definitely do some more catch-ups because I'll be, Sydney based next year, so we'll be able to do some more. And I guess we can actually finish off with a proper question. Is Carraz a must? Not sure who to sell to get him to out of Young, Garrick, Holmes, Manu, Mortalu, Marzu. How much he's got to be pushing 850 surely.
Good question.
I'm pulling him up now. So he's only 648.
He did drop a bit of
With
cash recently.
Yeah, so he's 648 with a 78 break even. So he's gone 40 points above his BA. So probably got up 30k. So he'll be 710, 715.
Yep.
Who do you sell? Like
out of this list,
I can't sell Marzu because of his price point and the draw. Can't sell Val because it's just Val. Like he's too highly owned for me not to have. Young Manu's back. You could probably sell him. I don't know, but does Manu attract so much attention that Young becomes more open? Probably
that was probably my thinking more
can't
so.
Sell Garrick like, the draw.
Nah, and Holmes as well is he's like 26% owned in top teams at the moment. Val
and
Holmes.
You probably can't sell Ronaldo because of how left dominant they are without Nico.
But also Ronaldo's like 495k. So like it's the same price point as Marju, really. Like it's pretty tough to get up. You got to find 204, 215, 220k to get from Ronnie up.
I guess just fade and hope. I
feel like it just depends how many trades you got, really. Like if I gun in my head had to pick one of these guys, it'd probably be Val Holmes, just due to the fact that the Cowboys draw is pretty tricky on the run home.
Yeah.
That's and also he's coming off 240s as well. I know he just got 100, and that's fine, but I just don't feel like it's an anomaly.
This Bulldogs draw though, Raiders, Dragons, Dolphins, Warriors, Manly, Cowboys. Like it's pretty fucking good. Yeah, maybe Val, just because of the draw.
That's tricky. I mean, look, if you can
it feels sideways, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does for sure. Especially if he keeps getting named at center as much as he scored well this week. Historically over the season and even last year, he becomes that guy who does have a dip at center. It's not a big dip, but I mean, don't expect 120 every single time he gets moved to center.
Yeah. And the last question, historically centers horrendous, especially right edge centers. They're the worst out of the four positions. I think it goes left wing, right center, right center in terms of historic Supercoach averages. And last question for the Knights, Ian Johnson, thoughts on Raymond as a pod? I could not disagree with this harder. You're picking the worst spot on the field, right center, in a pretty shit draw on the non-dominant side.
Yeah, not. I mean, look, if Nico was there might be partially an argument
100%.
Potentially to look at him. But yeah, now that they're going so far left all the time. I mean, look, Kalero's been unlocked now at left center. They're clearly going there a lot more now. Maybe it's because Braden Trindle found out that I traded him out and that you sat him this week. So,
like he also beat up on a bunch of shit matchups. Like he went well against the Bulldogs, which fair play. That's a very tough matchup. But then 73 against the Titans, 85 against us, and then 55 against the Cowboys. The draw, I can understand why we're asking because the draw is good. Souths, Titans, Newcastle, Dragons, Warriors, and Manly. But it's like we're the non-dominant side in a non-dominant position.
It's a no.
I'd rather just. I don't know how much Brian Kelly is, but Ramian's gonna be 640k. I'd rather just find the cash and get Brian Kelly.
Yeah, fair enough.
If you wanted that base stat minimal upside center.
I haven't done too much research on this week's pod.
Get Carraz for the same price.
Yeah. That's it.
Or
exactly.
For 100k more. For 60k more, just get Carraz.
And the conversation becomes: are we getting a pod just for the sake of having a pod? as well.
Yeah, that's
you
the
know,
thing.
like, are you picking the best player or are you just getting a pod that's going to derail your season?
The only reason you buy a pod is because you think they're criminally underowned.
Mm.
Like you're seeing things that no one else is. Like if you're just buying him for being like, oh, I just need someone sub 5%. It's just not the way to look at it.
Yeah, most of the time they're sub 5% because they're probably not as good as the popular options for the most part.
We have this conversation every preseason. They're like, oh, all the podcasts are the same team. There's sort of a reason why though, because we all think the same players are under. It's not because we all sit there. I don't talk to any podcasters that aren't named Aman, Brain, or Matrix. It's not like we all sit there in a massive group chat and conspire with each other. Oh, how can we just keep picking the same players? There's the conversation happening in FPL right now, that the template team in the preseason. It's because these players are picked highly because there's reasons to pick them. We're not just picking them for the sake of going with the crowd.
That's right. And last question here from Ian Johnson. Who's your must-have in FPL?
Christopher Nkunku, 6.5 million mid Chelsea. And then after that,
Palmer?
Who hasn't? No, Palmer's not in my draft at the moment because I've gone in Nkunku just because I think he's better value. And then Alexander Isak hasn't left any of my drafts either.
That's fair. Yes. I've got both.
FPL though in full swing. I've somehow managed to squeeze in Trent, Gvardiol, Gabriel, and Haaland. So looking forward to FPL.
I've gone no Haaland to start. I've got Salah.
The thing, I had this chat with Aman. It's like, if you're going to go no Haaland, fantastic. You have to be prepared to fucking ride it out, though, because if he scores like 3 goals in game week 2 against Ipswich, 15 million is way too much to rip it up.
100%. Yeah, could be tough. Yeah. Anyway, by no means do I know much about FPL. I just follow all the content creators. So, guys, that'll do us, hey? Nearly an hour and a half. Wrapped up the week, and we'll be back on Tuesday. It's your last pod, isn't it, for the year? So make sure to hop on and get all of your futon questions in and washing basket questions in, because it could be the last time for the year.
Are you just going to, I reckon, for your photo, just have the casting couch lounge as your photo for on Tuesday?
Yeah. Can you get me a photo for it? Like, get me a photo from where your camera is.
Oh, what, of the casting couch or of my or do you want the same backdrop as me?
I want your couch. Yeah. I want your couch TV. Put the washing basket on the couch as well for me, and send me a photo, and we'll double up. We'll have
the same monitor.
Love it. All right, guys. We will see you on Tuesday for TLT. Have a good one.
Cheerio.